Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigval here and welcome back to another video. So in this one we're gonna talk about the legendary characters that we get in Just 2 Mobile, and we're going to rank them based on how useful they are on soul rates. And I have two accounts, one where it's a lot more advanced situation and I have a lot more pay to win artifacts, and the secondary account where I have a lot more limited resources. Kind of all the legendary characters I have over here, I have played with and without gears, at low star rating and at higher star rating. I mean, it's not the case for every single character, like some of those guys are still 3 stars even on the main account, but yeah. Gonna do my best here, and I'm basically gonna rank them based on how useful they are to you in soul rates. I'm not gonna rank them simply on how much damage this character can do in the optimal situation, because if you are ranking them that way, then Constantine is as good as Beast Boy, because if you pair him up with Raven and you give him Twin Blades, then he's going to do 2 billion damage, but at the end of the day, that's not really needed. Also, there's gonna be a lot of characters that kind of share a certain spot, like we're gonna have a top 10 list, but actually we're gonna have something like 15 characters at the very least over here. It just sounds better at top 10. I'm just gonna talk in order about every single legendary character that I find useful in soul rates. And we're going to begin with an honorable mention. We got my boy Brainiac, so honestly, I really don't know what to do with this guy. This is going to be mainly centered around free-to-play side of things, because realistically, the amount of people who own the Beta Club artifact or the Gemstone artifacts, it's not very big. But at the same time, I'm gonna keep those things in mind. If you don't have any pay-to-win artifacts, this guy is absolutely useless. So what he does is he gives some lethal damage by spamming Special 1 to your other legendary characters, but he takes so much to stack the specific damage buff to the point where you're literally better off just taking the time that he takes to stack this, dealing damage with your character, and you're gonna deal more damage overall or just as much damage. But if you do have Beta Club and you put Puppet on this guy, then you're gonna deal a lot of damage, so that's gonna be an honorable mention because of that. But other than that, you don't need him. And honestly, I'm not sure I would even fit him on my top 6 teams on the main account, even with Beta Club. Though that's probably down to personal preference, because this guy with Sub-Zero, it's amazing with Beta Club. But again, this is gonna try to be a little bit more centered around the free-to-play side of things. Coming in at number 10, it's going to be Mr. Freeze. And before I get destroyed in the comments, if you do have Beta Club, then he's probably, I don't know, easily in the top 5 characters in this game. But if you don't have Beta Club, what you're looking at is a character that's very high investment. I got this man at 6 stars. I got all the gears. And with Puppet equipped, which is the most commonly used artifact on this guy if you're free to play, he's still struggling to get 2 billion damage. Like, things are not going well. I mean, obviously, if I had him class ascended to the point where I get 200% damage from the tech class passive, he would deal 2 billion damage easily enough, but that's not the reality for most of the people watching this video, so I'm trying to be mindful of that. So it's going to be top 10, and Blue Beetle is kind of in the same situation, and keep in mind, this is only for soul rates. If this was for League Invasion, Blue Beetle would probably be number 1 because of the unhittable alongside with the new Superman character. But other than that, for soul rate performance, this guy for the free-to-play side of things, again, get him class ascended, get the tech class passive to the point where it gives him 200% crit damage, and you're probably gonna get 2 billion damage. But until you're at that point, he's not really going to be that great. And even with pay to win artifacts, I have Jokerized Batarangs, and it's the artifact that's performing kind of the best on him. He's still kind of struggling, and he doesn't compare to other characters at lower star rating. Like, Beast Boy can kill any fight in the game that's not immune to crits at 3 stars with 1 gear. Beast Boy at 4 stars with full gears and pay to win artifacts cannot get 2 billion damage. Like, what is this man doing? I'm sorry, I can't give you more than 10 spots. I love both Mr. Freeze and Blue Beetle, but realistically speaking, they are going to need a lot of investment to get what you want out of them. Coming in at number 9, oh no, this guy is crazy. He put Manta above Blue Beetle. Well, the thing is, this is not Manta as a damage dealer. This is actually Manta as a support character. So if you got the character that's using puppets and it has a very easy time keeping up puppet once it's activated, and it deals a lot of damage with puppet to the point where he doesn't need more damage from his support characters. You got Manta over here who's going to allow legendary characters to apply 2 negative effects with his passive on the enemy. And guess what? Even though in theory it doesn't seem to be that much of a big deal, I have him either in the Beast Boy team or in the Scorpion team, which are two of my strongest teams. Obviously, I'm not gonna put him on the same spot with Beast Boy because he sometimes shares a team with Beast Boy. But when I'm using him with Beast Boy and I want to use Scorpion as well, I'm like, oh, where the hell's Manta, bro? I really wish I had Manta available now. Like, this guy is crazy convenient to use. Like, I'm not saying rush and get a Manta, but if you randomly get a 3-star Manta with no gears and you get a Beast Boy that you're struggling to use Puppet with, oh boy, you're gonna feel a difference. This man makes them instantly activate the Puppet artifact, which is something that's used by some of the strongest characters in the game, and for that reason, I think he's worth the spot. And he's going to share the spot with another character that's seen a lot more use lately. So we got where is he? We got Bet Ninja Gorilla Grot. So Bet Ninja Gorilla Grot does two things. First up, it can be used for the same role as Manta, which is applying 2 negative effects on the enemy. Unlike Manta's negative effects, they are not going to be able to be applied by other legendary characters, but they're going to stay there for a while and you can activate Puppet a lot easier. And secondly, he's going to give you power generation on your basic hits. That's not that big of a deal because there's not a lot of things that needs that much power generation, or are there? Orm kind of needs nowadays a lot of power generation, you know? To the point where he doesn't even keep up with the needed power generation with the power reduction character and crown on top of it. Shazam enjoys some power generation, you know? Any character that's using the new classic Flash support character benefits from power generation, so I find myself yet again using Gorla Grodd more and more, and as I go through my teams for that specific day, I'm like, oh damn, I used Grodd for the other team, what am I gonna do now without Grodd? So this guy has become lately, with the reworks and the releases of the new characters, a lot more in demand for both of my accounts. It's just the reality of things. And I like that actually. Oh boy, if you got mad that we had multiple characters on the previous two spots, on the number 7 we have 3 different characters actually. And they're all going to be support characters, and this is a very weird thing to do. And again, this is just my personal opinion. It doesn't mean it's the universal opinion. You can disagree, you can have a different opinion, we can both be right, or you can be right or I can be right. But Deathstroke's here. So Deathstroke is a very weird character. At 0 investment, he performs amazingly well. Like, if you play well enough, you can have this guy with the North Snow Globe equipped, which is a free-to-play artifact which creates clones. And you deal percentage health damage, which doesn't depend on anything except for the enemy's maximum health. And your clones deal percentage health damage, and you get to a point where you effectively can do 1.4 billion damage against a 2 billion health target with a 3-star character with no gears, which is pretty cool. But at the same time, once you get to the point, which is gonna take you some time, it's definitely gonna take you some time, but when you get to the point where you have 7 teams that can do 2 billion damage, there's not much of a use for this guy. Like, I'm not really using Deathstroke. Almost not using Deathstroke at all. But I've been using Deathstroke a lot, and I've been especially using Deathstroke a lot on my secondary accounts. So it's weird because you might get to a point where this guy is irrelevant, doesn't do anything for you, you don't care about him existing. But until you get to that point, he's going to be one of the best characters in your roster and one of the freest 1.4 billion damage you can actually do. He's used in some teams with Mr. Freeze, like you do the percentage shell damage with this guy and then you tag him Mr. Freeze and you have the Mr. Freeze passive stacked, but I'm not gonna give him any more points for that. But yeah, this is Deathstroke, and he's weird. I don't use him at all nowadays, I don't need him, but he's been amazing all the way until this point. Back to number 7 yet again. We have over here number 8. Excuse me. Number 8, on the same spot with Deathstroke, we have Black Adam. So Black Adam does two things for you. First of all, he does percentage health damage, which is nice. And out of all the percentage health damage dealing characters in the game, if you're able to play him well, he's actually going to be the one that does it the fastest. And on top of that, it's going to allow you to put two negative effects on the enemy, using him to easily enable Puppet for other characters. But this guy can just be put in any single team. Like, we have a team that doesn't really need three characters. Just drop this guy in, for example. You're playing League of Anarchy, for example, which has no synergy with this guy. Let's say you're not even using Puppet on one of the characters. You tag this guy, you deal the percentage shell damage, and then you tag him out, and then you play Harley and get your stuns like nothing happened. And all of a sudden, you're actually fighting a 1.5 billion health fight instead of the 2 billion health fight, and getting the 500 mil damage to just a couple of seconds. He's just so nice to have. You're not going to use him all the time. Sometimes you're going to forget he exists, but when you need him, he's going to be there for you, and he's going to pretty much fit in any single team that does not require to have 3 members. And the last character on the number 8 spots, and I promise we're not gonna have any more spots that have 3 characters. We're gonna have 2 more spots that have 2 characters, and the other ones are gonna be individual, okay? But Zatana does yet again percentage shell damage as much as Black Adam, but she does it slower. But on top of that, she gives you a damage buff, which is pretty nice to have. And also, if you put Puppet on her, she's got some nice synergies with League of Anarchy. The thing is, you never really need Zatana, but Zatana is gonna be nice in most situations. And of course, for the pay-to-win side of things, if this was pay-to-win, like all the artifacts in the game allowed, everybody has every single artifact type of deal, this is a lot more than this, because you can enable so many beta club teams with Puppet Zatana, which is nice. Yeah, out of those 3 characters, definitely Zatana is the best one, but at the same time, I couldn't really justify putting her a whole position higher. So this is going to be it for the number 8. I promise it's gonna get less confusing as we go down the list. Coming in at number 7, we got actually a little bit of a spoiler, both of the most recent released characters except for DCU Superman. So Killer Frost is going to give you a little bit of a damage buff, which is 400% damage buff at my current star rating, and it's going to freeze the enemy on specials. The damage buff is nice. It's pretty good. The cat's just going crazy for a little bit. But 400% damage buff is something you can get from other sources. The really nice things she provides is the convenience of gameplay that freezing the enemy constantly gives you. There's a lot of situations where I'm like, oh, I'm going to use Killer Frost with Orm. I use her with Orm, I have a good time. I really benefit from the fact that the enemy's perma-frozen, even though Orm has got an unhittable shield. And then I'm like, oh, what the hell am I going to use with Shazam? Because Shazam is another very strong character that we're going to talk about, and his preferred team, his best team, his team that feels the best, has Killer Frost in it. She just gives a ton of convenience that's comparable to having a Manta in a Puppet's team, and on top of that gives you 400% damage buff. If she only give you freezing on specials for legendary characters, she wouldn't be used that much, but she would definitely still be used, and on top of that you also get a nice damage buff. So overall, pretty good. Pretty damn good character. Okay, before the comments of the video get filled up with why is your classic Flash 2 stars, if you buy the pass, he unlocks at 2 stars. And I didn't grind enough to get him to 3 stars, but I can still activate the 3rd special by doing super move. We can still get the Speed Force, and I have him at 3 stars on the secondary count. But this guy is on the same spot with Killer Frost, by the way, which is number 7. And it's so nice to have him because of 2 reasons. First of all, you combine with Gorilla Grots, and you're gonna be able to get yourself the damage. I actually cannot show you the phasing thing because it's tied to the 3rd special. I'm too lazy to switch the account. But basically, this guy gives you a stacking damage buff, which is going to keep stacking until it reaches a peak value. And in order to stay active, it's going to drain your power bars. But you put him with a legendary character in the same team, and you combine them with Grot, and you're actually going to be able to permanently keep it active, which is a very nice thing. But on top of that, because the damage buff is not the biggest thing in the world, and again, you could get comparable things from other places, which are easier to maintain, like for example, from Girl of Steel Supergirl. But on top of that, he actually gives you an additional fast attack hit and guaranteed fast attack chance, which is absolutely crazy. So fast attack chance goes all the way up to 75, so it's by default a huge damage buff for characters that deal damage on their basic hits, because every single hit is now going to hit for is going to hit a fast attack chance, and the additional fast attack hit, it's actually insane for a lot of teams. A lot of characters benefit from this, and like the damage part is nice if you can interact with it and make it work is nice, but I've been in a lot of situation where I was like, I don't really need the damage buff, and I'm not gonna be able to keep it active in this team, but I've already used classic flash, so I'm just gonna put this guy there for the additional fast attack hits. Also, not to mention, if you got a legendary without gears that needs fast attack hits, for example, DC Universe Superman, and you don't have fast attack chance, this guy gives you fast attack chance on top of one additional fast attack hit. Like, he brings it and he makes it better. This guy is real nice to have. Again, not the best character in the game, but definitely a good addition, you know? Coming in at number 6, we have Robin King. So if I was to rank the whole League of Anarchy, not League of Anarchy, excuse me, the whole Batman the Drowned, Dark Metal team, Batman the Drowned team, it would probably be higher. Like, this guy is basically the support character for Batman the Drowned. However, Batman the Drowned can somewhat function without him, and with some setups, she can even deal more damage than with him. But this guy brings a lot of convenience and makes Batman the Drowned more versatile, because if this guy didn't exist, you would have a lot less fights that Batman the Drowned can conveniently fight. The fact that this guy exists allows Batman the Drowned to have a very good time against fights that have crit immunity, against fights that are chaos tagging, and you don't even need to think about it, because you have this guy, and you put Batman the Drowned with God Killer, you put Puppet on this guy applies blind to the enemy, this guy disables the specials on the enemy, Batman the Drowned reduces the attack of the enemy, you're basically unkillable. The only question is, do you have the damage to kill the target? And you, most of the times, if not all the times, actually do have the damage to kill the target. The only reason why this guy is not getting any higher on this list is because outside of Batman the Drowned team, he doesn't really provide any use, and Batman the Drowned can function without him, though she really benefits having him in the team. And once you have him, you're never gonna use her without him, except for entertainment purposes and wanting to try something new. But yeah, this is the placement of Robin King. Okay, as we're entering the damage dealer zone, so as you know, we're talking solo rates, right? Fights only have 2 billion health, no more than that. So we cannot know in theory what would be the highest possible damage potential. Also, let me get my camera out of the way, because people might think I'm actually ashamed of my star ratings of characters. I'm not, I promise. But yeah, the thing is, you cannot deal more than 2 billion damage. So what we're basically ranking characters in terms of how much damage they deal is how fast they deal that 2 billion damage, and how versatile are in terms of the fights that they can accomplish this against. Like, can they do it against the chaos tagging or not? Can they do it when crit immunities or lethal immunities are involved? That's kind of the differentiating factor. And out of all the damage dealing characters that we're gonna talk about, I'm only kind of talked about damage dealing characters because number 10 was Blue Beetle and Sub-Zero, but we're entering the zone where they can get the 2 billion damage. And Orm can definitely get the 2 billion damage, but unlike the characters that are gonna be higher on this list, first of all, he kind of has to work for it. Like, for example, the benchmark is, I have a 3-star full gears Orm, and currently he can get, with good gameplay, 2 billion damage with 2 maxed out passive stat artifacts in the level 10 crown, which is quite a bit. Quite a bit, not gonna lie. So yeah, he takes a little bit of time to get there, but he is there, and he's only 3 stars for me. And he's gonna get better with the star rating. So this guy is only gonna get better if you have him at higher star ratings. but he has some preferred fights. He can't really fight crit immunity fights because he pushes himself off the Dark Bell cards when using the third special. He cannot use that artifact efficiently, by the way. Yeah, there's a few things holding my boy Orm back, but he's pretty damn good. Also, mention if you do have the artifact gemstone, which is kind of a pay to win artifact unless you get crazy lucky, but if you do have gemstone, then Orm is easily a few positions higher. He's easily top 3 characters. Coming in at number four, excuse me, my boy Shazam. So my boy Shazam is going to be a pretty damn decent character. He can. The only problem with this guy is, do you have Killer Frost? If you have Killer Frost, then this rating is going to apply to every single person. If you don't have Killer Frost, he can still do it, but can you actually pull off the gameplay? Because this kind of requires a little bit of combo interruption and stuff, and he's a little bit clunky to play. Like, it might not be your fault, okay? Like, his basic hits are just garbage. I'm sorry, I'm gonna rant this forever. If you play Gold Shazam and then you go straight to playing this guy, you're gonna feel a little bit of vomit in your mouth. I don't know why they felt like they needed to do a different attack pattern for this guy, but this guy is clunky as hell to play. You put Killer Frost in there, you don't care about that because the enemy is going to be permafrozen, but this guy does well into almost everything. He doesn't do that well into Chaos Tagging fights, to be fair, but crit immunity, he doesn't care. He's using Dark Null cards anyway. Dot immunity, doesn't care. Lethal immunity, doesn't care. You just need to build combo. Do this a bit. Do this twice when you're at full stacks. Do this with a decent amount of stacks, and you're gonna get a 2 billion damage. I've been able to get 2 billion damage with this guy with no gears, with various team setups. This guy is amazing. The only question is, do you have Killer Frost? And if you don't, can you pull off the gameplay? And I'm not saying this like from a high horse over here. I'm not like, oh, I can play him well, but can you? I have died countless times because of this guy dumbass basic attack combos. I like this character a lot, but sometimes I hate him so much. I wish there was a delete button. Please change the attack pattern to be the same as Gold Shazam. Thank you. Coming in at number 3, and yeah, depending on your account, this might even be a high star rating, a high position for Raven. Like, don't get me wrong, Raven's great. Raven's great. Raven is adding darkness to the enemy, which is damage against targets. And right now we have an artifact in the game, for a while actually, which is the Twin Blade artifact, which interacts very nice with this. You put Twin Blade on Kinflant Sako and plus Raven 2 billion damage. You put Twin Blade on Legendary Constantine or on Gold Raiden. A lot of things. There's so many combinations of characters plus Raven that can do 2 billion damage. Any character in the game with Raven and Zatana can do 2 billion damage. This is the best support character in the game, period. But there's so bit of a problem that's starting to be more and more evident. Raven can get so many legendary characters and gold characters and can get so many teams all the way to that 2 billion damage benchmark. But we're kind of starting to have 7 free-to-play teams that can deal 7 billion damage without Raven. Yeah. And until you get to that point, you just don't care. That's not the calculation in your mind. Raven's gonna make your shitty League of Anarchy work. Once that's good on its own, it's gonna make your Kinflant Suckerman be a whole new team and deal 2 billion damage. But it's getting to a point where we have actually enough 2 billion damage teams where it's like, I mean, yeah, we can use a Raven team, but it's not like it's gonna add that much, because we can just use another team that does 2 billion damage without Raven. Like, she is insanely strong, but we're getting so many strong characters to the point where she's like, eh, it's really nice to have it. It's gonna be the best support character in the game. But we get more and more teams that don't really need it that much, you know? But yeah, she's still getting top 3. She's great. She's amazing. I love her. Number 2 is going to be Scorpion. Like, the Scorpion rework has been real crazy. You can play this man in so many ways. You can play him with Killer Frost, without Killer Frost, with Puppet, without Puppet. The thing is, you build those hot spots. Then by doing combo, you do a third special, and then you break the hot spots, and you don't even have to spam the third special. You don't have to do basics against the enemy while they're in the third special. They're no longer jumping out of the dots damage over here, and the damage is actually insane on this man. Like it's crazy. You get something like 40 to 70 mil damage per second. I mean, to be fair, the Scorpion on this account is star class Ascension 1, but they also have a 3-star, 4-star actually, because I dropped a bit more shots. A 4-star Scorpion on the secondary account with only 1 gear, and he's also doing insane damage. I don't know why they did this man, but I love it. It's simply damage, just damage. Why is gonna be, let's compare him to Beast Boy, okay? Because that's probably gonna be, Beast Boy is the benchmark, and Beast Boy is going to be above this. Rather than explain why Scorpion deserves number 2, let's explain why he doesn't deserve number 1. He doesn't do as well as Beast Boy in Chaos Tag in fights, and he is a bit harder to play. Like, you can just have the puppet gameplay that you have with Beast Boy, but you need to put some brain into it. Like, if you use Beast Boy with puppets, again, as I said, a far better time against Chaos Tagging fights, and in the Chaos Tagging fights, and in all the fights, usually, especially if you have a Manta, all you need to do is to press the third special once, and the enemy doesn't block it. And then you press it again, and then you just keep spamming the third special until the end of the fight. This guy requires a little bit more brain energy. Like, you need to actually think a little bit, which is crazy. You need to do a few basic hits before your third special to get your hot spots. You need to maybe count how many basic hits you're doing before getting those hot spots. If you're not using Puppet, you might get something done to you. He's just a bit more inconvenient to play than Beast Boy. He does a bit less good in Chaos Tagging fights, and overall, he does a little bit less damage. Like, this might be a little bit of a crazy statement, but 3-star Beast Boy, though, to be fair, Beast Boy does benefit from Class Ascension, because that's lethal damage, but my Beast Boy is at 3 stars, and he's doing more damage than Class Ascension 1 Scorpion per second, and he's doing it more consistently. He's getting things going arguably faster. He's simply a better version with less steps of Scorpion. But Scorpion is still going to be the number 2, but not really the second best character, because we got 2 characters in the number 1 spots. Okay, so number 1 spot, and you might be like, oh, you're dodging the question as far as who's better. Okay, I'm gonna tell you who is better in my opinion, but it's gonna be a tie between my boy Beast Boy and DC World Superman. And look at that, the perfect point of comparison. Full gear, 3-star on both of them, and it's actually going to be, no, Superman actually has higher level. Can we get my boy some levels? What is this? Why is he still level 62? That's crazy. Okay, 66 is gonna have to do for now. But yeah, this is number 1. They are both insanely good. They are both amazing. Both of them can eventually function with something like 1 gear bootleg setup and still get the 2 billion damage done. This is only for solo raids, by the way. If this was for League Invasions to easily DC World Superman, because he's got an ability that makes him unhittable, and that's crazy in League Invasion, but this is only solo raids. This guy has a damage buff, which and also damage against target on his special one that only applies to him. Also guaranteed crits over here. You just put a Twin Blade on him and you watch him tear the enemy to pieces, which is a free artifact, by the way. Beast Boy deals a lot of dot damage with his third special, and you just put a Puppet artifact, which is a free artifact, by the way, and you just watch him deal massive damage to the enemy. They are both convenient to use. Superman because of the unhittable on the third special. Beast Boy because of the puppet usage, which makes the enemy blind and basic hit disabled. Superman. Yeah, between them, bro, honestly, for soul raid purposes, and I'm gonna think about this that way. If you had to give up one of the characters to never use again, and your aim was to have the best soul raid performance and not the most fun, because if I wanted the most fun, I would use DC World Superman, because he does a little bit of something. You just don't spam the third special all the entire fight. But for performance, for ease of usage, for how fast they get to dealing that much damage, for chaos tag in performance. Beast Boy is a little bit better. I know, it might be a little bit of a controversial opinion because everybody loves DC Universe Superman, especially because everybody got it for free. But I think Beast Boy is slightly better. Okay, I think he's slightly. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I think Beast Boy is slightly better than Superman, based on my experience. Superman is a lot more fun, and they're both number one in my heart. But if you wanted me to not fence it and take a position, Beast Boy is still slightly better. But yeah, well, that being said, thank you so much for watching. Like it if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it. Let me know your opinion in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.